Coming up next, it's the Animaniacs, followed by the Real Adventures of Johnny Quest on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's the Real Adventures of Johnny Quest, followed by The Flintstones on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's The Flintstones, followed by Bugs and Daffy on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's the Bugs and Daffy Show, followed by Tom and Jerry on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Tom and Jerry, followed by Scooby-Doo on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Scooby-Doo, followed by the Rocky and Bullwinkle Show on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Wait Till Your Father Gets Home, followed by Speed Racer. Coming up next, it's Speed Racer, followed by Popeye. Coming up next, it's Popeye, followed by Top Cat on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Top Cat, followed by Yogi Bear on Cartoon Network. Stay tuned. Next, it's Alvin and the Chipmunks, followed by the Smurfs on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's the Smurfs, followed by Tom and Jerry Kids on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Tom and Jerry Kids, followed by Alvin and the Chipmunks on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Alvin and the Chipmunks, followed by Fantastic Max on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Fantastic Max, followed by Yogi Bear on Cartoon Network. Stay here. Next, it's Yogi Bear, followed by Wacky Races on Cartoon Network. Stay tuned. Next, it's Wacky Races, followed by the Flintstones on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's the Flintstones, followed by the Jetsons on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's the Jetsons, followed by Scooby-Doo on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Scooby-Doo, followed by the Acme Hour on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, Scooby-Doo continues, followed by the Acme Hour on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's the Acme Hour, followed by Captain Planet on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's Captain Planet, followed by Godzilla on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Godzilla, followed by Toonami on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Toonami, followed by Batman on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's Batman, followed by Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? On Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Followed by the Animaniacs on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's the Animaniacs on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's the What a Cartoon Show, followed by Cow and Chicken on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Cow and Chicken, followed by the Bugs and Daffy Show on Cartoon Network. Coming up up next, it's the Bugs and Daffy Show, followed by Tom and Jerry on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Tom and Jerry, followed by Flintstones on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's the Flintstones, followed by Scooby-Doo on Cartoon Network.